Hello, everyone. In this video, the narrator reveals why they take a risk at all. Let's listen to it together.
You've already met Watson Pritchard, a man living in mortal fear of a house, and yet he is risking his life to spend another night here. I wonder why. He says for money. This is Dr. David Trent, a psychiatrist. He claims that my ghost will help his work on hysteria. But don't you see a little touch of greed there around the mouth and eyes? This is Nora Manning. I picked her from the thousands of people who work for me because she needed the 10,000 more than most. Supports her whole family. Isn't she pretty? The party's starting now, and you have until midnight to find the house on Haunted Hill.
Pretty spooky, isn't it? The narrator has just introduced the guests at the party. Now let's go through them one by one together.
You've already met Watson Pritchard, a man living in mortal fear of a house, and yet he is risking his life to spend another night here. I wonder why. He says for money.
You've already met Watson Pritchard. He is a man living in mortal fear of a house. The phrase mortal fear means the deepest kind of fear, the kind of fear connected with death. In other words, he is absolutely terrified of this house. And yet, he is risking his life to spend another night here. The expression is risking his life means he is doing something extremely dangerous, something that could even cause his death. So we can hear the contrast. He is full of fear, and yet he still chooses to put himself in danger. The narrator says, "I wonder why." The word wonder in this sense means to be curious, to question something in your mind. Here, the speaker is saying, "I'm curious why he would do such a thing." And then we learn the reason. He says for money. The word money here is simple but powerful. It tells us that despite his terror, he is motivated by the possibility of financial reward. So, altogether, the meaning is this. Watson Pritchard is terribly afraid of the haunted house, but because of money, he is risking his life to stay another night inside.
This is Dr. David Trent, a psychiatrist. He claims that my ghost will help his work on hysteria. But don't you see a little touch of greed there around the mouth and eyes?
This is Dr. David Trent, a psychiatrist. A psychiatrist is a doctor who studies the mind and treats mental illnesses. So right away, we know that his interest in the haunted house is connected to psychology. He claims that my ghosts will help his work on hysteria. The word claims means to say something is true, but without proof. It's not certain, it's just what he says. And hysteria is a very old psychological term. It describes extreme fear, nervousness, or uncontrolled emotion. So Dr. Trent says the presence of these ghosts will support his research. But the narrator asks, "Don't you see a little touch of greed there around the mouth and eyes?" The phrase "a little touch of greed" means just a small sign, a hint, that someone is acting out of selfish desire for money or power. It's not spoken directly, but you can see it in his expression. So in this short description, we meet Dr. Trent. He says he is here for science, for his work as a psychiatrist, but the narrator suggests there may be something else. A little touch of greed, motivating him too.
This is Nora Manning. I picked her from the thousands of people who work for me because she needed the 10,000 more than most. Supports her whole family. Isn't she pretty?
This is Nora Manning. The narrator says, "I picked her from the thousands of people who work for me." The phrase "picked her" simply means chose her. It has a casual tone, as if he selected her personally from a very large group. Why did he choose her? Because she needed the $10,000 more than most. The expression "more than most" means that, compared to other people, her need was greater. So the money is not just extra for her. It's essential. The narrator adds, supports her whole family. This means Nora is responsible for taking care of everyone at home, not just herself. She earns money to provide for her entire family. And then he asks, "Isn't she pretty?" Here, the tone changes from practical to almost personal, as if her appearance also plays a role in why she was chosen. So together, this description tells us Nora Manning is not only working hard to support her whole family, she also desperately needs the prize money more than most. And that makes her one of the key people in this dangerous challenge.
The party's starting now, and you have until midnight to find the house on Haunted Hill.
The narrator says, "The party's starting now, and you have until midnight to find the house on Haunted Hill." The key phrase here is have until midnight to find. This means there is a clear time limit. The guests can only search, explore, or survive until the clock strikes 12. After that moment, the chance is over. Notice how this phrase creates tension. The words have until tell us that time is running and it will eventually run out. Adding midnight makes it even more dramatic, because midnight is often linked with danger, mystery, and the unknown. So in simple words, the line means, the challenge begins now, and everyone must face the haunted house before midnight comes. Now that we've gone over the story, let's play the audio once more and try out some of these expressions in real-life English.
You've already met Watson Pritchard, a man living in mortal fear of a house, and yet he is risking his life to spend another night here. I wonder why. He says for money. This is Dr. David Trent, a psychiatrist. He claims that my ghost will help his work on hysteria. But don't you see a little touch of greed there around the mouth and eyes? This is Nora Manning. I picked her from the thousands of people who work for me because she needed the 10,000 more than most. Supports her whole family. Isn't she pretty? The party's starting now, and you have until midnight to find the house on Haunted Hill.
Now, let's practice how some of these expressions can come alive in everyday English. The first expression is mortal fear. In the movie, it describes someone who was terrified of the haunted house, but in daily life, we can also use it in a more general way. For example, I have a mortal fear of speaking in front of large crowds. Or, she has a mortal fear of snakes. And even in a lighter way, he jokes that he has a mortal fear of running out of coffee. The next expression is risking his life. This phrase means to put yourself in serious danger. We can say, that firefighter is risking his life to save people. Or, she felt like she was risking her life driving on that icy road. And sometimes we exaggerate for humor. He said he was risking his life by eating the super spicy chili. Now let's look at wonder. In the story, the narrator says, I wonder why. It simply means, I am curious. You could say, I wonder if it's going to rain today. Or, I wonder what she's thinking about. And sometimes I wonder if I made the right decision. Here's another useful one, claims. To claim means to say something strongly even if it's not proven. For example, he claims that he can run a marathon without training. Or she claims she lost her homework because the dog ate it. And the company claims their product is the best on the market. Finally, let's try a little touch of greed. This phrase describes a small but noticeable sign of selfishness. You could say, there was a little touch of greed in the way he grabbed all the cookies. Or, I noticed a little touch of greed when she asked for more than her share. And sometimes there's a little touch of greed hidden in people's smiles. All right, that's it for today's English practice. Great job for sticking with it until the end. Have a wonderful day.